Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tender. It's Monday, September 23rd, 2024. Welcome, everybody. We're doing this video about 2:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a supporter. It's 99 cents. And I just did a top-down analysis of IWM for members on the individual analysis. It's $2.99. So if you're interested, thanks for the support. Now, we're going to go through SPY on multiple time frames and then go around the horn on the 65-minute with QQQ, IWM, SMH, and VIX, VIX. All right, if you're new here, go down to that bottom right-hand corner, hit that Options Center logo, and subscribe. All right, here we go. We have SPY on the monthly time frame. We have our 2000 top, 2021 top. We have negative divergence to these two tops here forming on 2024. We're in a positive structure. The momentum is up. The trend is up. That's an 8 EMA. That's a 20-month moving average. We're holding on top of the trend line so far. We'll see how the month ends. It'll be really telling. I suspect two scenarios. We get a hanging man, or we really start to dump going into the end of the week, and this changes rapidly. I don't know which one's going to happen, but we're at resistance. We have just a few more points to go to the upside. 10 points potentially on SPY, so we'll check that out. Okay, let's go to the weekly. On the weekly time frame, we have this potential channel up here. We're looking to possibly tag the top of the channel, which is about the 580, again, depending on how long this takes and where it's at on this trend. I say potential channel because we only have one touch on the bottom there, but I do suspect we will test this bottom coming up here in the near future. Now, the reason why I want to mention our point here, okay, I'm gonna go back and forth here just for a second. So on the weekly time frame, we have a weekly close above this 162% retracement, and that retracement comes from this correction we had here. Okay, the 127 was the first major target. We hit around that, traded around it, got above, back tested, and held again in this range. All right, we're getting above that range and holding on the weekly, but we have a monthly candle to worry about too. So on the higher time frames, this happens on all time frames, okay? So we're not necessarily holding above that, on a monthly time frame yet. We may have a wick before the month ends below this, very similar to this, but a much bigger wick, clearly, where it got above that price of 561.48 and then rejected off of it. So it's really important this month ending, and then the next month follow through, whether that's bullish or bearish. Super important. So we have a time relationship at 10.10 and 10.18 here. We'll keep that in mind. Wherever price is when that comes into play, we'll see what happens. Can't really talk much about it yet because we're not close to that time frame, so I can't tell you, will we be up here or will we be down here? I don't know. And we could get a low into that time frame and then get a bounce. So it's up in the air right now. On the daily time frame, we had the bearish rising wedge, broke down from it, back tested once, and then had a huge drop. Back tested again, drop. Okay, now it looks like we're going to back test it one more time. And I will move, I already did, moved another trend line down low because we had a new high here. Okay, so our target price is around the 580, and I'll show you why. And so we're kind of dancing around right now. I suspect we'll have very narrow range candles, possibly up into this range. Will we make it there by the 26th? That was my time and price target. I'm not sure, but we'll see after this consolidation. Maybe there's a breakout going from today into tomorrow. Okay, so how do I get that target up there? We have this correction, this last correction from wave 3 to wave 4. And just like we did on that higher time frame, we have our retracements. So after you get to the 100%, we have our 127.2 is our next target. I don't think we'll go higher than that because we have negative divergence on all time frames. But if price wants to continue higher and blow off top here, we have about the 599 next important target there, and minor ones in between. But this is where we'll start layering in some puts and use calls as protection, especially if there's a catalyst coming up. Okay, and you see we have a couple of clusters here. We have a huge cluster going into that time frame on the weekly. It coincides with this cluster here. So I think this will be very important. In the meantime, depending on time and price, we have one today. Is that just a low? I would imagine so. We have the 25th and the 28th. So we'll see what happens in between there. If we reach our target by then, I think that will be a good potential short, objective short. Okay, so taking another look at this formation, this is how we've been looking at it for quite some time. I got away from it for a little bit. Now I like to show it over and over again. This is an ending diagonal. We have a 1. These are made of 3 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're getting a 3-wave move up for 5. And that potentially would be that 580 to the top of this rising wedge, bearish rising wedge here. Expanding wedge. Going to the 65. On the 65, we have an ascending triangle, so targets could be very high, but I don't think this will last. Again, divergences are forming, but here's our target, pointing up to the target here. We're not that far away from it. And here's another look. Going in time and price, we have the 24th. We have a little cluster at the 26th. And so that 26 could clearly be where we're talking about. Now, we're forming a little triangle here. I don't think that's a wave 4 triangle. I'm not sure. But either way, it's a triangle. And on the traditional look here, we'll be looking at a downtrend line here. So we break this downtrend line today or tomorrow, and you could consider this a triangle if you want to. Either way, it's an equilibrium. So this breaks to the upside or downside. We'll see it. I'm leaning towards the upside to go to that target there. This is a consolidation zone. Same thing on the Qs. So let's go over there. Qs broke the downtrend here and now consolidating this move from FOMC. And again, breaks the downtrend, continues higher. We have our target right up here, close the gap. Here's what that looks like. We have the initial move here, which I think is an impulsive move. We're looking for an A, B, C correction. Now, all the check marks, I want to put this in. We have to be very cautious because every check mark is checked, meaning that if this is an ABC, we already satisfied that. We're up to the 786. We have possible A, B, and this you could count as a 5-wave move up for a C and consider it a double top here. But I think we have unfinished business to this 887 and closing the gap. Just my opinion. And all those divergences, we made new highs. Everything is checked off. Now it's just a matter of time when this plays out. SMH. Same thing, just a little bit weaker. Broke out from the downtrend line here, back tested, and is holding on. I do think this goes a little bit higher. doesn't have to make a new high for an ABC. This is satisfied here at the 62, but it would just make more sense if we completed a larger ABC, very similar to QQQ. Okay, but we're not playing anything but AMD right now, and we're really light on tech because I think tech's going to be the first to break down. Really wishy-washy. But what's stronger and what's going to take SPY all the way up to that target that I was talking about is potentially IWM. And so same thing, broke out, looks much stronger, but a big pullback. It was a large move. Now we're in this flag pattern. I think this flag holds. If we break out from it, you could see higher targets. Our target, I don't have it labeled on here. Our target's right here. We just did a video on this. We're looking at the 235 as being a B, the big picture B, and then a really large C wave to the downside. So this really, we're at 220 right now. That's a 15-point move. That's a massive move. It's 15, I believe 15%. My math is right, maybe a little bit more, to get up here. So that's a large move that could drag SPY while the Qs kind of just, eke out its new high there to get to its correction target, the 887. All right, VIX. VIX is still kind of holding on, but slowly closing these gaps. I do think both gaps close. We do have an uptrend line here if it wants to hold there. We have the 200 moving average on the daily time frame. It coincides with this options expected move. I do think we get there. Do we close gaps down here? If we do, then I think the market's just creeping up to the upside. Just slowly creeping. And that's what it did in 2007. That's what it did in 2021. It takes a long time for it to get down there. But VIX will be a good tell on whether we're closing this gap down here or just going to find a bottom here. If we do break this low here, then it's likely to have a positive divergence on the daily time frame. So we'll be looking into that. All right, I think that's it. Yeah. Thanks for joining us here at Options Center. Have a wonderful day.